History often talks about battles, generals, and flags. But sometimes, history changes because of a friendship. This is the story of a Spanish man almost forgotten today. And the most famous American of all time. A war and a desperate cause. In the year 1776, the American colonies were fighting for their survival. They had courage. They had ideas. But they did not have enough money, guns, or supplies. Great Britain was the strongest empire in the world. The colonies were weak and divided. George Washington knew one thing very clearly. If the colonies fought alone, they would lose. They needed help. From Europe. From old enemies of Britain. And one of those enemies was Spain. Who was Juan Miralles? Juan Miralles was not a soldier. He was not a general. He did not wear a uniform. Juan Miralles was a Spanish merchant. He was born in Spain. But he lived in Cuba, a Spanish colony. Miralles was smart, calm, and very good at business. But more importantly, he knew people. Spain wanted to hurt Britain. But without starting a big war too early. So Spain sent Miralles to the American colonies. Officially, he was just a businessman. In reality, he was Spain's eyes and ears. And soon, he would become something else. Who was George Washington at this time? Today, George Washington is a legend. But in the 1770s, he was a tired man under impossible pressure. His army was poor, hungry, and often barefoot. Soldiers left. Supplies were missing. Hope was fragile. Washington was brave. But he knew bravery was not enough. He needed allies. Quiet allies. Powerful allies. That is when Juan Miralles entered his life. The first meeting. Juan Miralles and George Washington met in Philadelphia. At first, it was politics. Careful words. Polite conversations. But something unexpected happened. They liked each other. Miralles admired Washington's calm strength. Washington trusted Miralles's honesty. They began to meet often. They talked about the war. About Europe. About life. Miralles list. Winter and illness. In the winter of 1780, Miralles traveled to Morristown, New Jersey, where Washington's army was camped. The winter was brutal. Cold. Wet. Unforgiving. Miralles became very sick. Washington was deeply concerned. He visited Miralles often. Doctors were called. Nothing worked. Juan Miralles was dying. The death of Juan Miralles. On April 28, 1780. Juan Miralles died. He died far from Spain. Far from Cuba. But not alone. George Washington was heartbroken. This was not just the loss of a diplomat. This was the loss of a friend. A funeral like no other. What happened next was extraordinary. George Washington ordered a full military funeral for Juan Miralles. Cannons fired. Soldiers marched. Flags were lowered. This honor was almost never given to a foreign civilian. Washington himself attended. He walked behind the coffin. In his letters, Washington wrote with deep respect and genuine sadness. This was not politics. This was personal. Why this moment matters. Juan Miralles did not fight in battles. But he helped make victory possible. Spain continued to support the American cause. Spain fought Britain in other parts of the world. Spain weakened the enemy. And it all began with quiet men. Private conversations. And trust. The forgotten friend. Today, few Americans know the name Juan Miralles. There are no big statues. Few books. almost no movies. But George Washington never forgot him. And neither should history. Because sometimes, the fate of nations is decided not on battlefields, but in friendships. If you enjoyed this story, remember this. The United States was born not only from revolution, but from alliances, and from a Spanish man named Juan Miralles.